Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again. My name is Nicodemus Kane. Today is October the 28th of 2022. Today we're going to read Isaiah 60. Before that, I usually go into current events and stuff that's happening. Usually talking points of things that I see out in the world. So let's talk about Twitter for a second, shall we? Of course, everybody is rejoicing, saying, "Oh, things are going to be so different since Elon Musk bought Twitter. That things are changing." I don't know if anything's really changing or not. I haven't seen anything on Twitter yet to show me that they've completely opened the platform up. There's a lot of what do you want to call them? Truth channels, I guess. There's a lot of guys that are testing the waters, that are just posting things that people thought used to get their tweets pulled off the air. You know, certain hoaxes, certain truths, certain things. They're not putting out the big ones though. They're just testing the waters, going around the smaller ones. And honestly, it's all stuff I've seen before. I think that the only thing that these people are doing by posting these truths are posting things that they thought they couldn't get away with. You have to remember, there's a lot of truthers out there that will self-censor themselves, and most of them don't even know the rules. Most of them won't even come right out and say it. I've come right out and said it a lot, and so far I haven't seen anything of my own get pulled yet. I'm sure it's shadow banned, but I haven't had any real problems. The biggest one I had was with the, I was talking about the list of people that had called out child abuse that had all suddenly and magically, died in some mysterious way. Most of them being musicians, actors, those types of things. And that was whenever I got the notification from Germany that somebody had tried to flag my post, and Twitter found no problem with it. So they had to tell me though, because apparently German law says that you have to tell the person that you're talking about, which I thought was very interesting. But other than that, everything else I've ever said has stayed there. And I've said a lot. Believe me, I've said a lot. I haven't gone so far off the edge to say a lot of stuff, but I've, skirted around the issue. But these guys out here, they're just saying stuff that I know you can see on Twitter anyways. So I don't see anything that is blowing the lid off the world. I don't. I'm pretty sure that there are still censorship algorithms in place. One of the things that I've kept hearing about this, Twitter's been saying that they still have to follow the law of the land. You still have to. You can't go out there and just say whatever the hell you want, which is bullshit, of course. But there is still a censorship algorithm in place that, if you speak too far out of turn, you're going to get censored. My biggest thing with it, though, is this, what do you want to call it? This deification of Elon Musk. Everybody thinks he's the savior of the world now. He's brought freedom back to us. Look at all the things he's done just within 2 days of moving in, and And so far, there's nothing yet. Everybody says, oh, this will bring freedom back. This will bring everything back to us, and we'll be able to speak freely on anything we want to, and it'll change the world and all this stuff. And all I have to say to that is, do you really think that a liar like Elon Musk, a man who lied to you and told you that he put a car in orbit around what you people call planet Earth, you really think a liar that told you that is going to save your free speech? Really? He's a liar. He didn't put anything up in space. There's nothing up there. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. You don't even have to be a flat earther to understand how wrong that is. You just can't do that. It's not possible. I don't care if you got videos or not. That video looked glitchy. It looked fake. Just like he is. He's part of the family. So no, I don't see him giving anybody any free speech back. He's not the savior of free speech. He's not the savior of freedom. He's just another control mechanism. You may think you're free, but maybe he's there to get you to speak out more so that they can find you easier. I don't know. Maybe he's there to let free speech flow so that government has a reason to come in and restrict it. I see that happening more than anything else. The headlines say Twitter is now out of control. The Wild West of Twitter. We have to do something. And then government regulations start. Government has been wanting to find a reason to limit free speech on the internet for years. There's a lot of policies that have already been put in place over the past 10 years. They've been put in place secretly under the radar. They haven't enacted any of those yet. It'd be very easy for them just to say, okay, now it's time to pull this out of the bag, and there you go. You've lost all your free speech on the internet. You've lost the internet itself. The internet completely gets locked down, and what are you going to do? Maybe that's what it's for. Maybe they just want to lock down the internet, period. They need a reason. They can't just shut it off. If they just shut it off, then you'll know something's wrong. But if it comes under the guise of hate speech, misinformation, which has been a heavy keyword for the past couple years, if it comes under that guise and the government says, well, we have to regulate this, then it won't take much. It really won't. I had to blow my nose there for a second. It wasn't even really blowing my nose. It was just kind of wiping my nose off. I might have to blow my nose here in a second. But seriously, though, maybe that's what it's for. Maybe it's all part of the process. You're not getting freedom back unless you take it. You're not getting it handed to you. There's nobody handing it to you. No billionaire is handing your freedom back to you. You have to remember they're all part of the same family. They're all part of the same club, and you're not in it. To quote George Carlin, you know what? George Carlin was part of the club too. I listen to the things that he said. Jeez. I listen to some of the things that he used to say. Not only in the comedy acts, but in interviews, things like that. He was wise to things, And he was allowed to stay in his position for a very, very long time. And he was allowed to speak up for a very, very long time. And he wasn't what you would call a full, honest truther. You have to listen to the things that he said. Just because he says that, oh, the government's bad, or the government does this, they like to bend you over the barrel and stick it to you and all this other kind of stuff, doesn't mean that on the other side of his comedy act, he was talking about other things that were pro-government. You have to listen to both sides of what he was saying. And then in the interviews, like I said, he's not... He doesn't come off as the everyday man. He comes off as someone who was in the know, who was part of the family. Is he even dead? You know, just another one of those cancer deaths. Didn't he die of cancer? I think that's what it was. Just another one of those cancer deaths that, you know, they just die, fall off the face of the earth. You never really hear anything about a funeral or, you know, anything else other than that. And then there's people that show up that look exactly like him a couple years down the line. You know, I just saw a thing about Boris, what's the guy's name? Boris, former Prime Minister of UK, Johnson. Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson looks exactly like Jimmy Savile. What the hell is that? Am I saying they're the same person? Probably not. No, it's like the Jimi Hendrix Morgan Freeman video that I did. You know, there's something more going on there than just this is the same person. Could it be? I don't know. I don't know. At this point, anything is possible. I've said before, they're either family. I don't know if it's clones. I don't want to say it's clones because, I mean, it could be. Shit. I say it's family. I say that it's so close of blood relations that they look alike. It's possible. It's entirely possible that somebody's death is faked in one place so that they can go play another role somewhere else. It's entirely possible. People think that's crazy, and I say no, it's not crazy. It's just possible. Everything we know is fake. There's nothing real anymore. So yes, it's entirely possible that they fake one person's death so that they can go play another role. And it's weird how well it fits. It's scary to a point. So I don't know. I don't know anymore. What role did George Carlin go off and play once he died? It's your homework assignment for the day. I am going to have to blow my nose here, so here we go. So here is 10 to 15 seconds of silence for you to contemplate why it is that you see so many people that look exactly like other people, especially after that person dies mysteriously, usually cancer or a drug overdose or something else, something that you can't entirely prove on your own. You know, where did they go after that? It's one of those deaths that was not in the public eye. Let's put it that way. You know, sometimes you'll hear somebody died and, you know, somebody found them and then there were like 3 other people that were there and we have witnesses and all this stuff. These are people that were supposedly found by their bodyguards, found by their, you know, managers, found by somebody else somewhere that, you know, they just happened to come back in a different form. I don't know how it works. I have no clue how it works. Is it possible? Absolutely it's possible. Anything's possible anymore. They said that, who was it that said that we won't know our misinformation campaign is complete or something like that until everything that the American public, it's a CIA director. Everything that the American public sees and hears is a lie. We won't know our campaign is complete until then. So, what? We're there, guys. There's nothing you can believe anymore. There's nothing you can believe. Not on TV, not on the internet, nothing. And more and more and more as you go on, the more you see that it's changing, that it's moving to this what do you want to call it? This computerized non-real world where everything's a green screen, that everybody is an actor that looks exactly like somebody else, that everybody in Hollywood apparently has at least one or two twins, that none of it's worth watching. So you don't pay attention to it anymore. I don't even think somebody was talking about it the other day that, or no, it was an old thing. It was actually, it was on Johnny Carson. I was watching some Johnny Carson clips, going back to the old days, seeing what these people were saying. And boy, howdy. You want to talk about the things that Hollywood does now with the, child abuse and with the drunken sex parties and the symbolism and all the stuff. It was there back in the 70s and 80s, that they almost didn't even hide it back then. Late shows, it was so late in the evening that they just talked about whatever, and Johnny didn't care. Johnny Carson was so far into the family that he could get away with whatever he wanted. And he did too. And they talked about it openly. They just talked about it openly. They didn't care. There were other things too, other weird things that were happening on that show. But I'm gonna try to I'll try to steer us back to Isaiah. But I was watching it and he was talking about television, the new relatively new invention of television, where it was only 20 years after, but there were still people that didn't have a TV in their house. But he was saying how more and more people were buying televisions, because you remember there was a boom of televisions in the 70s and 80s. That it's a medium that you could turn on in the house and you just leave it running and you can get up and you can walk away from it. And you don't have to pay attention to it because your mind fills in the blanks, which is part of how they control you, because your mind is filling in the blanks. You're not using your mind to understand what's happening. It's like he was talking to Orson Welles and they were talking about radio. When you listen to radio, your mind has to focus on every single little bit of that radio program. I mean, not music, but we're talking about the old school radio programs where they had to, everything was acted out. It's kind of like audiobooks. People that listen to audiobooks, their brain, they have to put all these things together in their brain. It's like reading a book, because you're having to put all the things in your brain because you don't have the pictures there. So you have to, focus on what you're reading. That's why I always say it's better to read a book than it is to do anything else. But with radio, you had to stop and you had to pay attention. With television, you don't have to pay attention so much. You can do other things. You can look away from the screen and do all this. And, it used to be the joke that whenever the commercials came on, that's when you got up and you went to the bathroom and you went and, got yourself a snack or whatever you did. That's why they intentionally made commercial breaks a certain length of time so that you could get up and walk to the kitchen, do whatever it is, and come back and be ready for the next part of the show. They did that on purpose. Not only that, they found out that people liked to get up more and more during the commercial breaks. They wanted people to do it so that they could consume more. So what they did was they extended the commercial breaks. They found out that people only like to sit down on their ass for 8 minutes at a time. You know, less than that if it's a 30-minute show. I mean, what is it? What is it down to now? Is it down to 20 minutes for a 30-minute show, or is it less than that now? It used to be like 22, 23 minutes for a 30-minute show. Back in the 50s, it was like, I think the Twilight Zones that we watched went up to like 25 minutes. Can you imagine that? But it slowly has decreased, and I wonder if you can even get 20 full minutes out of a 30-minute show anymore because of commercials. It's crazy stuff. Let's read Isaiah 60. I'm going to take a second here to blow my nose, like I said, and then we'll read this. I got way so far off track there, but in the end, you can't trust a man who lied to you about sending a car into space to tell you that he's going to give your freedom of speech back. Just be careful. Use your discernment. Understand that it's all being controlled and manipulated. All right, give me 1 second here. And really, again, part of that process of being able to control and manipulate your mind, like I said, is that not being able to pay attention to the TV. You don't have to pay attention. Your mind fills the blanks in, and your mind will create that reality for you. Sadly, it will create that reality so much so for you that you will begin to believe that that is reality. So that you can walk away from the television with your mind filling in the blanks, and you will actually start to think that what you heard on the television is part of your reality. It's a subconscious triggering system in your brain. It's part of the mind control manipulation that has been there for years. Think about that. We've had televisions for what, 70 years now? They've been able to perfect it. I'll tell you that much right now. They've been able to perfect the control that they have over you. And I think it has definitely gone to the point to where people have they've just lost all control and sense of reality. Especially with the dopamine hits. The dopamine hits now with like TikTok videos and other things like that. I'm sure that's, completely rewired people's brains. I don't even think that they can function properly anymore. It's one of the worst inventions in the world. I say that, and of course television led to internet eventually, but I mean still, one of the worst inventions, one of those things that I wish we could unmake is the television. Moving pictures. It's crazy stuff. I could do a whole video just based upon that, but we're not gonna go into that. Just with all the patents and with all the mind control and everything else that has come after the fact, and putting it all together, seeing that big picture of how it all works, seeing the manipulation, it's crazy stuff. Anyways, Isaiah chapter 60. Let's do this. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. The Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about, and see. All they gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see, and flow together, and thy heart shall fear, and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. All they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee, the rams of Nebaioth, 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 and of course it's separated in a sentence break or a line break. Nebaioth. Okay, let's just go with that. The rams of Nebaioth shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. Before we go any further, I want to stop and look. There are no pilcrows in this chapter. Wow. Okay, so there are no pilcrows in this chapter. Let's cut this in half, because this is a lot. 22 verses, and we're going to have to recover the whole thing at once. Should we just recover the whole thing at once? Why not? Why not? Let's just cover the whole thing at once. So we'll read through the whole thing, and then we'll go back through it. Wow, I didn't realize. I'm like on verse 9, and I'm thinking, why have we not seen a pilcrow yet? Because there are none. One big, huge paragraph. Let's go back to verse 9. Let's go back to verse 8. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breast of kings. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord thy Savior. I am the Lord thy... Verse 16 again. See, this is why I don't like to read a whole bunch of it all at once. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breast of kings. And thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior, and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. I will also make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. But thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory. Thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself. For the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. Thy people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. Wow. All right. We get to go back through the whole thing. I need a drink after that. A little tickle in my throat started in about 4 or 5 verses before the end there. And it's still there too. It's been especially since last week, whenever I was out mowing the leaves, I probably inhaled something. Knowing my luck, I inhaled something and it's just been sitting in my lungs and rotting. It's that time of year too. The weather's changing. We turn the furnace on. The environment changed, therefore your body is doing its best to change with the environment, and your body can't sometimes. So what happens is your body has to release the toxins that are inside of your body in order to change to this new, what do you want to call it, habitat, this new environment that you've created where, it's cold outside and it's warm inside, and who knows what the hell your furnace is pushing out towards you, So your body has to create these toxins that it has to expel to get rid of all the old stuff that used to be in your body. And that's why you get sick. Germ theory. Starting all the way back up at the top. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. The darkness shall cover the earth. And this is another thing that I think the book of Revelations talks about, is that the sun and the moon will go away, which is kind of sad, really. It's he created this perfect and amazing clock, but of course, it also says that the heavens will be rolled back like a scroll. All the stars will fall, so you won't get the stars. There won't be any more stars. There won't be any more heavens. There won't be a sun. There won't be a moon. There won't need to be a light in the sky. That the New Jerusalem, this new place where we're all going, will just be lit by itself. It will be something different, something that we have never seen. But it talks about this. It talks about how, it started in darkness and it will end in darkness. The only light that will be there will be the light of God, the light that he gives us. And it will be a beautiful and amazing light. I don't know how it'll work. But that's not for me to try to figure out. It says this world will perish. You know, it was a beautiful and amazing clock that he made for us that worked in this beautiful and amazing way that man has destroyed in one way, shape, or form. And God says, I will wipe it clean and we will start with something else, something new, something better, something that you will not be able to understand until you're there. But I've heard that before, though, is that the darkness will be on the earth and everything will just basically just be dark forever. There's been movies that have come out like that where the sun just didn't come up anymore, or a couple other things, a couple of other creepy pastas and stuff that I remember that, you know, they were talking about the same thing, that the sun went down and never came back up. The sun just turned itself off and everything was dark. And there were things in the dark. Other people have said that too, is when it goes dark, when the world goes dark and the sun doesn't come up anymore, you shut everything off. You close the doors, lock the doors, close the windows, lock the windows, close everything up. Do not look outside. Do not let anyone in. It doesn't matter who it is, because that is whenever the darkness and the evil shall be upon the earth. I'm keeping that. I'm keeping that standard for whenever it does come. You know, that's why we pack ourselves up with food, so that when this darkness happens, you know, there's been movies. I can just sit here and just think of all the movies where a darkness fell upon a town, or a darkness fell upon, you know, just a house in the middle of nowhere, and there were things that were moving in the darkness and started coming for the house. The Bible says something very similar to stuff like that. You lock yourself in and you don't let anyone in. There's so many movies like that. Over and over again, you hear the same message. You do. You hear the same message all the time, especially in older movies, but there's just something to it. You know, something very weird to it. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Remember, yet again, it's not just for one certain people. In the end, everyone will come to God's light, and will say, everything that we've known up until now has been lies. Please let us be a part of this. And they will accept everyone. Everyone that wants to come and change their ways and put off the life that they used to have, they will accept everyone. Lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. And we've heard the past, well, a couple of, like the late 40s, early 50s chapters of Isaiah. It talked about God making straight roads to be able to come back to him. How that's going to work, I don't know. I'm not even going to try to speculate. But it said over and over again that he will create these straight roads for the people that want to come back, to come find him. That's another one of those flat earth things if you want to talk about it, because there's going to be a light that's going to shine in a certain part of the world that's going to attract everyone back to it. Now, if all the world goes dark, if all the world goes black, and if you're living on a circular ball, if you're on the other side of the world, how are you going to know where that light is? You're not. The devil took Christ up to a high mountain and showed him the entire world. How did that work? On a ball. It didn't. It was flat. It's just another one of those things. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to. I don't care. But you have to understand that your Bible is a flat earth book. And your Bible says not to trust in the lies of man. and man tells you that the earth is round. So who you going to believe? Who are you going to believe? Believe whatever you want. Just ask the Father. Pray. If you're here to get any kind of spiritual understanding of anything, you should be praying to God first. You should never be taking the word of some schmuck like me on the internet that only knows what God has told him. You should be praying to God too. Asking him what you should be doing. Asking him the things that you should be learning. Asking him for the understanding. If he tells you that the earth is round and you shouldn't listen to me, hey, that's cool. That's fine. But my God brought me to this point. He showed me that there are lies of men. He has not showed me the shape of the earth. He tells me about it constantly, and I can understand it now. And I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world. It absolutely is. What has he done for you? What has he shown you? But this right here is saying there will be a light, and they shall come from everywhere because of that light. And he will make straight roads to those places where they can all come together from all the four corners of the earth. And thy heart shall be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted. Is that where we were? Then thou shalt see, this is verse 5. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear, and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee. The dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba, shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. Now, of course, I like to look up the meaning of these words. Midian means strife. Territory of the tribe descended from Midian, who was a son of Abraham. Located principally in the desert north of the Arabian Peninsula, land to which Moses went when he fled from Pharaoh. The dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. Ephah means gloomy. The name of the son of Midian, and a region settled by him. So, the multitude of camels shall cover thee. The dromedaries, which are just camels, young camels, of Midian and Ephah, the son and the grandson of Abraham, all they from Sheba, one of the three early progenitors of tribes of an Ethiopian desert, son of Joktan and a descendant of Seth, son of Jokshan, the son of Abraham. Now remember, this is also, it talked about the Abraham's seed becoming more than you can count, more than the grains of sand in the ocean, something along those lines. And you have three of the sons of Abraham, or three of the descendants, not the sons, three of the descendants of Abraham within one verse. The dromedaries of Midian, which was his son, and Ephah, which was the son of Midian, and then Sheba, which it said was a son of, which is another son. It's a son of Abraham. Shall come, they shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. which really are the descendants that didn't really do anything. Because you got to remember, the only one that we really cared about, the descendant of Abraham, was Isaac. Because Isaac begat Jacob. Jacob became Israel, and then, of course, you get the 12 sons of Israel and the whole thing. And so all those that branched off of Abraham that did not become Israelites, the Gentiles. Do you see how that works? I'm just saying, we're talking about the Israelites being the saved people. What about everybody before that? Where are they going to go? Well, this says right here, the multitude of camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. Was there anything in here where we're told that? I don't remember if there's anything in the Old Testament, the really Old Testament, when it talked about Abraham, if there's anything that says that they split off from the group. I don't remember exactly what it says, but I'm sure this isn't talking about just the cities. It's not like, there's going to be just 3 cities that come up and they're going to all bring gold. And no, we're talking about the families. We're talking about the descendants of Abraham are going to come back, bringing all of their camels and everything else. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebaioth, that's the same one that I messed up the first time, shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of thy glory, or the house of my glory. So Kedar, son of Ishmael, who was the first son of Abraham, the descendant of Abraham. And Nebaioth, seeing the word together doesn't help. Nebaioth is another son of Ishmael, shall minister unto thee, come up with acceptance. These are all the descendants of Abraham, the ones that did not become the protected people. You get that yet? You get how it works? God promised Abraham that his seed would be multiplied all across the world. Are we descendants of Abraham? Probably. Probably, because you got to remember that just about everybody else that came out of Noah pretty much got killed off in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't talk about the descendants of Noah coming back and doing all this stuff. We're talking about the descendants of Abraham. God promised Abraham that his seed would be more than the grains of sand in the ocean, and they would all be brought back eventually. Think about that for a second. Think about how many people. I mean, you're talking about the people that. I mean, there's one son and 3 grandsons just within 2 verses. Abraham. We're not even talking about Israelites. We're talking about Abraham. Oof. That's a lot. That's a lot. It makes you think. It really makes you think. Verse 8. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first. Remember, Tarshish were the sea people, the merchants of the sea. To bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. The sons of strangers and their kings. Again, everyone will be able to come That doesn't mean that they're accepting everyone. It's everyone that sees the light of the Lord and wants to follow his word and his commandments and wants something better than the evils of this world. It is not just for a protected people. It even said that as we were going through the whole Abraham thing. We didn't hear much of anything that happened to Abraham's other kids. We heard what happened to the Israelites, to Israel and his kids. But what happened to everybody else before that? See? There's things going on here. There's, understandings that we have to pull out of this. But in favor have I had mercy upon thee. Verse 11, therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The kingdom that will not serve shall perish. They want to come in. They want to serve God. They want to be a part of it. They want to give them of themselves freely because they have inherited the lies of this world. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee. And remember, Lebanon is the land of trees. The glory of Lebanon, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. We're talking tall trees too. We're talking big trees. Remember, Lebanon had the trees that it describes as being 140 feet tall. Of course, that's what it says, how big the giants were. But back in the day, the trees of Lebanon were probably the big monster trees. The big, mile-high monsters. Speaking of mile-high monsters, so we're watching this damn show on Amazon called The Peripheral. It's based off a book, an old book. But in it talks about this future London from 2100. That's just the year that they say it is, 2100 London. And inside of the city, they have these giant statues of old Roman figures. There's like David, and there's like a centurion, and there's like what's the one of the girl without the arms? I can't think of her name. I don't remember. Anyways, I have always had a problem with those statues because they don't represent, supposedly, they don't represent gods. I think they do. I think they do, and I think they always have. I don't think somebody went out and made a statue of some random dude just for the sake of, the statue of David supposedly took, 20 years to make? You don't do that just for some random dude. Those are statues of gods. That's what they are. The woman with no arms, that was a statue of a god. We just don't know what it is because they haven't told us, because they want us to think that, we just randomly make statues of whatever the hell we want to. No. Those are statues of gods that we don't have names for, or that we don't understand how they fit together. Anyways, remember, I don't believe anything anymore. But every time they show this future London, they show these low camera angles where you can see over the buildings, and when you look over the buildings, you see these gigantic monster statues of these old gods. And again, you will look at them and you will say, oh, well, it's just the guy with the discus, or it's just the guy, it's just David. It's just a statue of David, or it's just a statue of whatever. It doesn't mean anything. Those aren't gods. The movie, or the show, is showing you what it's going to look like in the end of days, where these giants are walking around the world, the earth. You got to remember, it's like the days of Noah. In the days of Noah, they talked about giants, big monsters. Whether you want to read the Bible itself, where it talks about them being 140 feet tall, that's, what is that, 14 stories? 13, 14-story building? That's big. That's a big boy. You want to talk about the book of Jasher, where if you really get into it, it talks about it being 500, 600 feet. The book of Enoch, where it talks about it being almost half a mile. I mean, these books are describing giants as being something way bigger than just a 15-foot Goliath. That show was showing us what it's going to look like. Remember, they put the revelation in everything. The revelation of the method is in everything. And I think that's what it was. I think it's exactly what it was. It was showing us these statues of these ancient gods that they don't call gods, but I'm pretty sure that's what they are, walking through the city of London. And they were huge, monstrous. And it's, for someone who knows, like me, for someone that understands what that means, what that looks like, it's very disconcerting, because you're just like, holy shit. that's what they're showing us. It's like watching Attack on Titan, but in real life. And you're just like, that's what they're showing us. They're showing us giants walking through the cities. Now that got way off track. I got onto that because of the giant trees of Lebanon. But that was just something, again, it's one of those things that when you're watching television and you can see the signs and see the symbolism, that's what that was. It was crazy stuff. The show itself sucks so far. So far, it's all just been one big mystery box after another. Somebody calls it a mystery box because you're wanting to see what the big mystery is, and then once you open up the mystery box, it's just another mystery. You don't know what you're getting. It's the anticipation of the dopamine hits of finding out the truth. So that's all it is. It's just very clouded and ambiguous right now in teaching you the method. And it's like, just tell me some truth. Just give me something that I can hold on to, or else I'm going to quit watching, because there's nothing to it yet. You got to give us something. You got to give us some reason that all you're doing right now is just making me ask more and more questions. And I don't need a show that's going to make me ask questions. I need a show that's going to, tell me why I should keep watching it, especially at this point. Anyways, the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. What is the box? A species of tree, a small evergreen tree, perhaps a cypress or a cedar. Ah, that's where it is. The pine tree, the fir tree, the cypress, the pine tree. It's a species of hardwood tree. Could be an elm. Interesting. And the box, which could be a cedar. Verse 14, is that where we are? The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. The sons of those that put the chosen people into slavery shall come, bowing themselves down at the soles of thy feet. The ones that will come and say, we're sorry. Surely we've inherited the lies, So you have to remember that the evil men of this world think that they're doing good for themselves. And it's the children of those people that don't know any better that are going to be asking the question, why are we doing this? And I got a whole thing in a video game right now that I'm playing that it's the same concept as I'm finding out that this guy's father was not a good person. And he is having to justify that in different ways by, making it up to other people. Very similar to this. It's very interesting how similar it is to this. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy to many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and thou shalt suck the breast of kings. And thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Now there is some allegory going on here. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles. This is not a literal sucking of the milk of the Gentiles or sucking at the breast of the kings. This is the Gentiles taking care of the Israelites, the chosen people. Anytime I've seen where it talks about sucking the milk, sucking the breast, sucking at the teat of a man, it has been in reference to knowledge. So you have to remember that you take the Word of God in as milk when you're young. And when you're older, you eat it as meat. So you'll be taking in the knowledge of the Gentiles. Is that right? Or am I taking that the wrong way? It's a very weird one. When I saw it the first time, when we passed by it the first time, I wanted to stop and really understand what the hell I'm saying. That's just another one of those that you might have to stop and figure that one out. That's a little different. So verse 17, for brass I will bring gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. I will also make thy officers peace, and thine extractors righteousness. He will make everything better. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. But thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory. That's what it says in other places too. And the sun and the moon shall dissolve, shall go away. Sadly, the beautiful clock, the most amazing creation ever, shall go away, and we will find something better. Something better will come of it. But the sun and the moon shall disappear. And again, it's another one of those things where it talks about the moon giving its own light. Neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. Oh, but the moon reflects light. No, the moon doesn't reflect light. The moon is nothing that you can stand on either. I don't know if I want to buy the plasma thing. There's definitely something to it. Somebody did a picture of it that I saw that it was a very high definition um, picture of the moon, and it looked like it was one of those pictures where they took it where it was like, like a small sliver, like a Cheshire moon, and it's like the whole thing was lit up though somehow, some way, but it was very, very high definition and very interesting to see because the whole damn thing looked flat. it didn't look it didn't look round at all. It looked flat. I mean, you could see again how, for whatever reason, every single supposed asteroid hit that ever happened on the moon came down flat and perfect. Where you have flat and perfect holes, all the way around. It's like every meteor that decided to hit the moon came down straight impact, 90-degree impact. But when you looked at that picture, it looked like a flat. It didn't look round at all. I've seen enough balls in my time to know what a ball lit up from the side looks like. This looked flat, and I'm like, wow, I've never seen it look like that before. But it really looked, I don't want to say fake, it just looked different. Makes you wonder, makes you wonder what it is. It didn't look real at all, and of course, it wasn't even like 2 posts down from that. It was somebody taking a picture of the moon through the daytime sky, the blue sky, and there's a star shining through the moon, and it's like, well, what are you gonna do here? I don't know if I want to believe plasma or not, but it gives off its own light, and it's not a reflector of anything. It is definitely not what we think it is. I don't want to say that some people say it's a projection. Projection what? From where? Exactly. No, it's the moon is the part of the clock that flows around and tells us the days of the month. That's all the moon is. The moon's on a 28-day cycle. 28-day feminine cycle. That's all it does. It goes around the sky 13 times a year. That's your calendar. That's your days of the month. That's what that is. And I love the theory about the moon being the power converter for the sun and the earth. Now, somebody said this, so it fills up. It fills up like a battery. The moon goes through phases. When it's completely black, when it's a new moon, it's empty. It's completely empty. It sucks the energy somehow from the earth and cycles that through to the sun to keep the engine running. Because it's a big clock. It's one big engine. Somehow it all works together. But it fills up like a gauge. And when it gets full, it means it's full of energy. So it has to release that energy into either the sun or into the earth. I don't know how it works. This is just a theory. This is just something that somebody came up with and I really like. And as it releases that energy, the gauge goes back down and empties back out to start the process over again. Maybe it's something, maybe it's not, who knows? Maybe it's just another part of the calendar that we haven't understood. Maybe those are supposed to be the days of the week. How long does a moon phase take? Does it take 28 full days? Yeah, it does. The moon phase does take 28 full days, doesn't it? A full moon phase. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but somebody had that theory one time, and it makes so much sense because everything in the earth is electrical, and something has to power this. I mean, I get it. God could have made it and it could be running by itself, and that's awesome. But at the same time, there is an energy system that runs through the earth constantly. The sun and the moon are part of that energy system. What if? I don't know. It's speculation. I don't know. We'll never know while we live in this world. Hopefully, I'll find out whenever I get to the next world, because I really want to know, because I think it's the most incredible thing ever, and there's got to be something more to it than just, oh, hey, look, it's just the moon is just there just to count down days. It'd be interesting to find out, especially since the moon not only gives off its own light, but it gives off its own cold light. That's the weirdest thing about it, is the moon gives off cold light. That's incredible. It's colder in direct moonlight than it is in the shade of the moonlight. Ah, man, that's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. Anyways, where are we? The sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory. Verse 20, thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself. For the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. Thy people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. And that is... Oh, sorry about that. I had to stretch and then I had to yawn all at the same time. Wow. That is pretty much self-explanatory there at the end. I don't need to go into it any further than that. Man, my lungs are rough. I don't know. Something. I've been having a hard time breathing. I'm starting to wonder if it is this vent. I need to cover this vent up somehow, because I can't close the vent. Our vent covers for the house are so old that they don't work. It's one of those old pull cord things where you got to pull it, and then there's like a little thing for the ball bearing to fit into to where it'll stay open or whatever. These are so old though, and this one is right underneath my computer desk. And there's no other place in this room for me to put my desk. And so I have to tolerate it. I guess I could move down a little bit. It'd be weird, but I could move down. I might do that, I don't know. But it's definitely affecting my breathing. It's very, very strange. Anyways, enough about me. So, we will end it there and pick it back up on Monday. Today is Friday, by the way. This has been the longest week. Oh, this week has been so long. It just feels like it's been dragging forever. Especially Monday and Tuesday. It's just like, just make it stop. But now it's Friday, and we've got some work we got to do this weekend. We're going to be doing some yard work. The trees have dumped all of their leaves all at once. So not even every tree either. Just the big one out front is still kind of dumping. I have one tree in the front that is completely dumped everything, and I have leaves all over the yard. Blew out the gutters last Sunday, and they got filled back up on Monday. And they've been sitting there, and I've just been like, man, I got to blow those out again. This sucks. But it is what it is. And I gotta get up there and fix those. So anyways, other than that, thank you guys for coming around and listening to me rabble on. God bless every one of you. Take care of yourselves. You might have to go take a puff on the inhaler. Holy smokes. Oof. Other than that, God bless all of you. Just keep your eyes open. Don't trust in any man to save you. Figure it out for yourself. Don't trust me. Don't trust me. Pray to God. Ask him what you should be doing. Ask him what you should be following. Ask him if I'm even the right person you should be listening to. Who knows? I could be getting it wrong. I've done it before. I could do it again. I could be doing it now, for all I know. So anyways, God bless you guys. Take care of yourselves. And, yeah, I got to get back to the point where I can actually turn this off. All right. I shall talk to you all later.